Alright, hey guys, welcome to my first review on my channel, Matt Osborne Talks, and I will be reviewing The Dark Knight Rises. So if you can't tell, I am a huge Batman fan. I've been watching Batman since I was about 3 years old, starting with the Tim Burton films and the Schumacher films. So first off, The Dark Knight Rises. If you've been keeping up with the reviews, there have been people who have liked it, and there are people who have loved it. So to get out of the way, I loved it. And I think the problem I've been hearing is that Batman Begins, it revolutionized Batman. It rebooted it to a way that no one had ever imagined. It was dark, it was gritty, but it still had a comic book feel to it. Then when The Dark Knight came out, it still had that dark and very realistic tone, but it was very flashy, it was very city-driven, it was all chaos, but still not on the grand scale of Dark Knight Rises. And I loved both films, especially Dark Knight, and of course Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. That cannot be topped, and a problem I've been hearing is with Bane, but I'll get into that. So first off, I did love the film, and the performances, which I'll get into right now. The performance of Christian Bale, this has been his best performance of the Batman franchise that he's been in. More particularly Bruce Wayne, because that is one of the main focuses of this film. And he was Bruce Wayne in this film. The ups and downs of him just being retired for 8 years and how it's been destroying him inside and how he's come back. I thought it was perfect and he's never been better. Also, Michael Caine as Alfred. He was probably the most emotional performance of this film. He's been with Bruce Wayne since he was just a baby. And just the way you can sense how he cared so much for him, and he was just killing him inside just to watch almost virtually his son just every day go out as Batman and just have to watch him come home and just be beaten, and he couldn't stand to see it anymore. Next up is Morgan Freeman, who played Lucius Fox again. Who's Morgan Freeman? That's all I need to say. Alright, so another performance was Gary Oldman, who played Commissioner Gordon. He was great, just like he was in the past two films, but this also was his best performance as Commissioner Gordon. And the last three performances were the newcomers to this franchise. And first off was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He was one of my favorite parts of this film. He was great. His name is John Blake, and he's a rookie cop. And I'm not gonna say too much about him because he's a very important character. But what they did with him, and there's a lot more to him than just the rookie cop that you think he is. So he was perfect, and I don't want to get into anymore. This is spoiler free. Next up was my biggest worry of the film was Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, because Anne Hathaway is a great actress, but she can either be Rachel getting married or Oscar-nominated performance, or she can be Love and Other Drugs. You never know with her. So they took a chance. And she was great. She was great as Catwoman. She was not the Selina Kyle of the Tim Burton and Batman Returns, where Michelle Pfeiffer. That was the more sexy, kind of erotic type. This was more of the comic books, and if you played Batman Arkham City, it was more along the lines of that, where she is tough, she's brutal, and she was great. I couldn't see any problems with her. And the last performance is where people differ on this, was Tom Hardy as Bane. I thought Tom Hardy was perfect. I mean, with what he had to work with just using his eyes and his voice, and not really being able to give a full emotional performance, I thought he was great. I am one of the people who can get past the fact that he is not the Joker. He is not supposed to take over for the Joker, and this is a new villain, a new take on him, on Bane, and that's why I thought he was great. Another reason why I loved Bane was that because he was ruthless, he was intimidating, and you really felt the sense that he was so powerful. And from Batman Begins and Dark Knight, Batman, he was essentially a badass. Whenever he was up in a fight, you never felt the sense like, oh, is this the end for him? No, you know he's gonna get out of it, he's gonna kick some butt and get out of there. But Bane, he was too much for him. Batman had found his match, and it was just so emotional to see when you're seeing that character, Batman, that you love so much, just get torn away by Bane. So personally, I thought Bane was great. If you have to compare it to Heath Ledger, no, you can't. Without comparing them, Bane was great. Tom Hardy did a great job. He was a great villain, and that's all I wanted. The story. It takes place 8 years after The Dark Knight, and Batman has taken the fall for the crimes that Harvey Dent committed, and Harvey Dent is now dead. Sorry if you didn't know that. And now he's being kind of worshipped in Gotham as their White Knight, as their hero, and Batman has been gone. No one sees him. No one really wants him back. And this is it's the rise of Batman again, because Bane has come to Gotham and he just wants to destroy it. Whereas in Dark Knight, Joker he wanted chaos. He just wanted to play around and mess with people. He wanted Batman, whereas Bane, he just wants to destroy Gotham. This movie shows you that you can have the action of something like Transformers, but actually have a good story in it too. And the action, the last half of the film was amazing. I mean, you have the great story for the first. I mean, this film was long, but that is not a complaint. I want a long film to end this epic franchise. The last half was it was incredibly engaging. It was so action-packed, and I did see it in IMAX, so if we have a little IMAX corner, if you can see this film, see it in IMAX. It is the way it was meant to be shot. It had over 50 minutes of IMAX with the IMAX cameras, and you can tell how beautiful it looks in IMAX. So aside from that, the story was great. Alright, so I find this story in this film was probably the best of the franchise. You had a really emotional sense of how Gotham was being destroyed, and sometimes it was a lot darker than you think it would be. It deals with some heavy stuff when Gotham's being taken over. So overall, I thought the story was great. Probably one of the best of the three. So to sum it up, I loved this film. It was what I expected from it. So really the only two minor flaws I had were it at times did drag on, and sometimes the comic book feel that they went for with Batman Begins kind of took over just a little too much, but it did end up redeeming itself, but sometimes you do want what you saw in The Dark Knight. So overall, this film was an excellent conclusion. I couldn't have wanted anything more. The best part of this film is the ending. Believe me, I won't tell you. But it was just I cannot think of any other way that you can end this franchise. I thought it was perfect, everything I expected. With that, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. Alright, so thanks for watching my review of The Dark Knight Rises. If you liked it and you want to see more, subscribe, wherever that is. And I have nothing to do this summer until I go back to school in the fall. So if there's anything you want me to review, I'll be reviewing the few movies that are coming out for the rest of August and July. If there's anything else you want me to review, leave it in the comments. I most likely have seen it. So thanks for watching, and as always, I'm Matt Osborne, and thanks for listening to me talk.